Hello, students. Welcome to the online class once more. Students, do you remember where we stopped last time? We stopped there where there was the entry of the McDonald's. Students, I will read the paragraph followed by explanation. Then it was she decided there were different sorts of fathers. Suddenly one day, mother became ill and she and her grandfather went to the hospital. The little girl was left alone in the house with Alice, the cook. That was all right in the daytime, but while Alice was putting her to the bed, she grew suddenly afraid. Explanation. Students, when Kezia saw the happy father and the happy children in McDonald's family, she started realizing that there were different types of fathers. In other words, Mr. McDonald, as a father, was different from her own father. Then the writer takes the readers to a different day. On that particular, on that particular day, Casio's mother fell ill, and her grandmother also went with her to hospital. Now there was no other person with Casia at home except the cook Alice. During the daytime, Casia felt all right. She managed her day with Alice very good. But as it grew darker, fear struck Casia. It was more when Alice was putting her to bed. Students, we get to know that Alice was all alone with Casia. There was no other elder to look after Casia. Although father was there at home, she was afraid to approach her. Now she felt the need of her grandmother and her mother. When Alice was about to leave her, Casia displayed her fear. She asked Alice what would happen to her if she would have a nightmare. Students, here nightmare means bad dream. Okay, so let's read the next paragraph that will be also followed by explanation. What will I do if I have a nightmare? She asked. I often have nightmares, and then Granny takes me into her bed. I can't stay in the dark. It all gets whispering. Explanation. Katia told Alice that she often had nightmares, that is, bad dreams. She further told Alice that whenever she used to cry in her dreams, Granny would take her into her bed and made her sleep. She informed Alice that she used to hear somebody whispering if she stayed alone. Next paragraph. You just go to sleep, child, said Alice, pulling off her socks. And don't you scream and wake your poor fa. Explanation. Students, pa here means father. Alice was the cook. She remained busy most of the time, so she did not have enough time to understand Casia. Alice could not feel the situation and the problems Casia was going through. So Alice simply comforted Kezia by saying to go to sleep. Alice also warned Kezia not to scream, that is, cry, in her dreams that could wake up her father. Next paragraph. But the same old nightmare came. The butcher with a knife and a rope, who came nearer and nearer, smiling that dreadful smile, while she could not move, could only stand still, crying out, "Grandma, Grandma." She woke, shivering to see father beside her bed, a candle in his hand. "What's the matter?" he asked. "Oh, a butcher, a knife. I want Granny." He blew out the candle, bent down, and caught up the child in his arms, carrying her along the passage to the big room. A newspaper was on the bed. A half smoked cigar was near his reading lamp. He put away the paper, threw the cigar into the fireplace, then carefully tucked up the child. He lay down beside her, half asleep still, with the butcher's smile all about her. It seemed. She crept close to him, snuggled her head under his arm, held tightly to his shirt. Explanation. Students, these are two very beautiful paragraphs of the story where the readers get a clarification about the father's care and love for Kezia. When Kezia had gone asleep, same dream came to her. She dreamt of a butcher with a knife and a rope who came nearer to her, smiling a fearful smile. In her dream, Kezia could not move herself. She was standing still before the butcher, and she cried out for her grandmother, "Grandma, Grandma." With her cry, she woke up, and very surprisingly, shockingly, she saw her father beside her with a candle in his hand. The father asked her what the matter was, and Kezia explained what she saw in her dream. The father could understand her situation, and so he blew off the candle and took Kezia into her arms and went into the big bedroom. It was the bedroom of her father. The order of things in the room showed that the father was also not asleep. There was a half smoked cigar near his reading lamp. There was a newspaper on the bed. The father laid Kezia on the bed and removed the newspaper from there. He threw off the cigar into the fireplace and made Kezia sleep. Kezia was half asleep, and there was the shadow of the dream still in her mind. She could figure out the butcher's smile all about her, but now she was in the arms of her father. There was no fear. She made herself close to him. She snuggled her head under his arm. Students, snuggle means to move into a comfortable position. and she held tightly to his shirt. Students, now we see that Kezia no more has any fear for her father. This is a beautiful scene. In the absence of her mother and the grandmother, the father takes so much of care of Kezia. The next paragraph. Then the dark did not matter. She lay still. Here, rub your feet against my legs and get them warm, said father. Tired out, he slept before the little girl. A funny feeling came over her. Poor father, not so big after all, and with no one to look after him. He was harder than grandmother, but it was a nice hardness. And every day he had to work and was too tired to be a Mr. McDonald. She had torn up all his beautiful writing. She sighed suddenly and sighed. What's the matter? Asked her father. Another dream? Said the little girl. My head's on your heart. I can hear it going. What a big heart you have got, father dear. This is the ending of the story. Now, explanation. Students, it was dark in the big bedroom. Kezia and her father were sleeping together. But this darkness did not matter because now she was in the arms of her beloved father. Her legs were cold, so the father told her to rub her legs against his own ones to warm up them. The father was tired of the day long work, so he fell asleep. But Kezia, she was awake. She had very funny feelings. She had very funny feelings. Now she felt that her father was not like a giant as she thought before. He was a poor father, tired. He was not like MacDonald, who used to be at home most of the time. Kezia's father used to be out most of the time. So perhaps this was the reason that Kezia's father could not give much time to her. While she was having these beautiful feelings, she stirred a little bit. Out of his deep sleep, Kezia's father woke suddenly and asked what the matter was. Was it a dream again? But this time, Kezia said that it was not a dream. It was her head on his heart. She could hear the heartbeats of her father. And now she realized that her father had a big heart and she told it to him. This is the end of the story. It's a beautiful story. I think students, you must have enjoyed it. It's a beautiful thing. Every parent love and care their children, but sometimes they don't have much time to spare for their own children. But that doesn't mean that they have less love for their own children. I will be giving you a writing of what we have already learned. For today, let us stop here. Thank you so much.